Yo, how's it going everybody? It's Sketch and welcome back to the channel. And today we're taking a look at Huntdown for the Xbox One, developed by Easy Trigger and published by Coffee Stain, released on May 12th of 2020. This is a 2D run and gun game set in the distant future that taps the vein of most of your favorite dystopian 80s and 90s movies, and even has some references to 90s video games thrown in for some even measure. This one was a pleasant surprise to find amongst the handful of 2D style games that released this year, and this one was beyond solid. Though before we get too far ahead, let's get up to speed on the story real quick. In the future, where gangs rule the city streets and cops are powerless to stop them, only the bounty hunters can stand a chance against them. Your squad of 3 elite hunters are the city's only shot at liberation and all the credits a replicant could ever want. You'll battle from end to end of the city, wiping out anything that gets in your path in your journey to the Shogun's hideout, while taking out each of his generals along the way. That's really it in a nutshell, and the game will feel very familiar to those that have played games like Blackthorn, Contra, eSWAT, and even Shadowrun. Hell, the vibe of Blade Runner and RoboCop also have a heavy influence here as well, and it's awesome for it. Gameplay wise, you have a 2D run and gun with a lot of ways to play through, either by guns blazing and brute force, or slower, more methodical style using gadgets and environmental hazards. You have the option of 3 hunters, each with a main primary weapon and projectile that recharges, along with a secondary being whatever drops you find along the stage. The main directives are to kill the major bounties along with the minor bounties, along with collecting hidden stashes, these being briefcases on each stage. You can get multipliers by wiping out all enemies or by completing the stages without dying. And and on that one I say good luck, because this game is tough. This being a run and gun action platformer with a heavy retro aesthetic as far as level design, it's got enemies and environments that will probably smoke you on repeat. But once you get the feel for the mechanics and how to use them effectively, a nice layer of gameplay opens up and it's a blast, even with the parts that gets difficult. The boss fights are a healthy chunk of the game, and learning their patterns are the key to survival. The Dudson twins and Grandmaster Udai near the end are extremely challenging, but once you get the rhythm, you'll be cruising in no time to those credits. You do have a massive arsenal of weapons to pick from along the journey, from start to finish, with all the things you would expect and then some. Melee and ranged weapons also change depending on the environment and each area. So they're all capable of doing serious damage, so you can kind of take your pick as to which one you fancy. The slide shots and perfectly timed grenade toss that ignites barrels ending in a screen clear is a sight to be seen. Control wise, it's tight and you have a fair amount of options with the movement, like ducking in and out of cover like Blackthorn, and you can dash and air dash. Once you have the hang of those, you'll be pulling off some sick maneuvers in no time. Graphics wise, this is a mishmash of a lot of ideas, especially with dystopian future noir set pieces and general look overall. The sprite art here is sick and has some really nice level design as well as the characters. Also, the splash screens for each world look like something straight out of Road Rash or the Mutant League games, and they all look dope with each with their own throwback references, mostly to 90s arcade games and 80s movies. The Akira Easter Egg was one of the best things I've seen in a game in a while, and also having a whole section that's a crossover between Blade Runner and The Last Dragon is the crossover I wouldn't expect, but damn, it works way better than I ever thought it could. Sound wise, this is slamming. The music is really fun, and the game has tunes that sound like something straight out of Tron Legacy on one stage. The tracks would almost have a Yuzo Koshiro vibe on the next. The dialogue and one-liners in the game are also pretty funny in most spots, and the sound effects also have a fair amount of force behind it too. There will be more than likely several quotes and references you'll recognize with each character, and I'm sure you'll get a chuckle out of it too. And the explosions and the general chaos that unfolds through the game honestly all sounds great for the most part. Overall, Huntdown bridges the gap between so many things and for the most part nails all of it. You can tell the developers really were about making a game they want to play themselves while also delivering a unique and challenging game in the process that really has a vibe of its own, and I'm stoked to see what Easy Trigger does next. Huntdown gets a 9 out of 10 and comes highly recommended to anyone that enjoys run and gun games with a solid challenge, as well as fans of 2D action platformers. This one does not disappoint and will probably hook you in almost immediately if these kinds of games are in your wheelhouse. And I thank you again if you made it this far in the video. If you can find these videos helpful, that's awesome. I'm glad you use it as a resource. Check back often. We'll have more reviews and commentaries coming up in the future. Until then, take it easy, stay safe out there, and I'll see you on the next one.